looking at XRP, just want to show something real quick. So it's common knowledge that this right here was a Wyckoff accumulation right here. This was Wyckoff accumulation. So basically, this is Wyckoff accumulation, and this was a classic Wyckoff pattern. I mean, it's not perfect, but it had the necessary requirements to be a Wyckoff accumulation. I mean, you can see here, price coming down, price coming down. You have secondary test, then this up move here, right? Then price came down, right? Price came down, but here's the anomaly. It went sideways for a while, for a long time. This is an example of Wyckoff accumulation, but it can meander down here for a while. Then it comes up to the resistance. Same thing here. It comes up to the resistance, and then what happens? The infamous spring, the spring phase, right? This is the phase where everybody gets bearish. This is the phase where everybody thinks, oh my God, we're going to zero. You know, this is supposed to shake you out. And then when we break below support, oh my God, everybody's flipping out like, no. You know, we're going short. So what do we see here? This is the spring phase. What was happening here? Same thing. This is the spring phase. So you can see it broke support right here. It broke support. And then what happened? It exploded to the upside. Wyckoff accumulation example, exploded to the upside. And then look very closely. You can see it bounces on the resistance just like it does here. Let me zoom in. Right here, you can see where here's the spring, bottoms out, breaks the resistance, then it comes up, and what does it do? It oscillates in here in a resistance, just like right here. So understanding that can help us understand where we are now, because taking this same image, I'm going to move it over here now, and every time is going to be different, but the purple is the fractal of what we just saw, right? So let me move that out of the way just for a minute. So what we see is something similar, but there's a massive anomaly, and that is the SEC lawsuit. So imagine this is the same thing right here. So we come up 1, 2, 3 up to resistance. Okay. We come up 1, 2, 3 up to resistance. Then we come all the way down to support. We come all the way down to support. Then what happens? We come all the way back up to resistance. Same thing that happens here. We come all the way up to resistance, right? This was the resistance right here. So my thought process was, okay, we're going to come down now. We're going to come down right here. Right here. And this is going to be the spring. Right there. And then we're going to go to the upside. That's what I thought was going to happen. That's what I thought, right? But that didn't happen, right? So let me show you. We come up to resistance. We came up to resistance. So now I'm thinking, okay, and the reason why I'm thinking this is because not only XRP, but if you look at Bitcoin Cash, take Bitcoin Cash, for example, or even like maybe SHIB or something like that, you can clearly see the Wyckoff pattern. XRP is not as clear. It's a different animal when dealing with XRP because in my opinion, you have ODL, which is on-demand liquidity, which means, you have different coins, you have different exchanges going on. different than the rest of the market. But that's another topic. So anyway, we come up here to resistance. We come up here to resistance. And then here's the spring phase, just like before. We come down into the spring phase. That's what I thought. We're going to come down into the spring phase. But that didn't happen. What we did was we retraced to the upside. And I go, okay, maybe it's a three-wave move. Maybe it's something like this, where here's an A wave, here's a B wave, and then we're going to get the C wave spring. But that didn't happen. What happened? What happened? At a critical area right here, that's when the SEC, that's when the judge came out with her decision. And what did it do? It totally screwed up the price. And everybody's like, yes, it's over, it's over, it's over, you know. But what happened was it destroyed the price structure of the Wyckoff accumulation pattern. That's what happened. Because I'm thinking, okay, we have an A wave, we have a B wave, we have a C wave. We're going to get three waves down. Just like right here, we're going to get the spring phase down. We're going to get the spring phase down. But that didn't happen. Because right here, we exploded to the upside because Judge Torres came out with her decision. And then what happened? And then I'm like, all right, so maybe we're out of the Wyckoff. Maybe it was like a half. Maybe XRP is so bullish that it only did a half spring, right? But what happened was we pulled all the way back and we were going to back test, right? So I'm thinking, okay, now we're going to back test the breakout zone. But what happened? Right when we got to the back test zone, that's when all of a sudden, I swear to God, XRP has the worst luck every single time. Like Judge Torres could have did it at any time, but she chose to do it right when XRP actually needed to complete the spring phase. And then also Bitcoin had a massive liquidation right here, right at the backtest zone. It had a massive liquidation. I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? So what happened was the price came down back into the channel. So now it looks nothing like this. It looks nothing like this. But what I think is happening is I think it's now initiating the spring phase. Okay? I think it's initiating the spring phase. So let me show you. Because what I wanted to happen was price come down here and then price move up, right? So I wanted to see price come down here, break that spring right here, just like it breaks it right here, and then it goes to the upside, and then it goes to the upside, right? That's what I was thinking, but we broke out right here, which is a big problem because it screwed up the chart. So now, let me take everything off the screen. So we have the anomaly. So it's not over yet. So what I think is happening is this is going to be the spring phase right here. And then we go up. And you say, well, that doesn't make sense. And to me, it's like the only way for it to make sense is you have to ignore this entire thing. Pretend that never happened, right? I know it's, it's crazy talk to say that, but I think, it's still intact. I think that little thing right there was just an anomaly. Just like over here. Over here, it seems like XRP has the worst luck at the worst time. Or maybe it's all by design. I think it's all by design. I think, they can't allow XRP to win, right? Because they know how powerful it is. So the market makers do it right at the perfect time. Look at, we came right up here, right? And then what happened? Boom. This is the biggest anomaly right here. It came all the way down to 17 cents. And then it destroyed the price structure, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it really looks like a three-wave move. Boom, crash to the downside, and then it just waned down and barely made it to $1, $2. So now we have the same type of thing going on. But anyway, moving past that, I think we are still developing the spring phase here. So just like here in 2017, we had this fractal. Um, the price came up here, and then right here, the Judge Torres came in and brought the price down. This is 2017. So the way it's supposed to happen is price comes up to the resistance right here before coming down. But what happened in 2023 is the price broke out, which is a good thing, but it's actually not a good thing. And right here, boom, we have the anomaly. So this is what it's supposed to look like, but this is what we got. So moving the fractal, is it still possible that we're still in the spring phase? Basically what happened was this whole thing just got delayed and delayed and delayed. So what I like is the fractal still matches up nicely. It matches up in different areas at different times, but more so than not, it's lined up pretty well. So here's what I'm talking about. See how the price came up here? And that's what we wanted. And then we got the spring, but it didn't. We came down here, and what happened? We deviated away from the fractal. We broke out. See, it wasn't supposed to break out. It was supposed to continue going down, 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 down. But Judge Torres should have waited until when? I would say until September. So, but she did it in July. So she should have waited until September and then released it. That would have gave it the momentum it needed. But what happened was the price broke out too early, and that was the problem. That's what destroyed the market structure. But I think it can still be salvaged. So here we go. I think what's happening now is, let me take this off. I think we're somewhere either number one, we're somewhere right in here where we're having a short spring. Basically, where's this whole thing from up here to down here was the spring. I know it's kind of weird. That doesn't make sense, right? How does that make sense? Well, that's one way to look at it, right? This whole thing, so we broke out, right? Judge Torres made her decision. We broke out, and then look what happened. We pulled all the way back, resembling this right here, this spring phase. But normally a spring phase comes all the way down to the support. Well, what if this support is more like this, right? What if it's more like that? And at that point, it just gets ridiculous, right? So I'm not comfortable with saying that. So the other option is the price still has to come all the way down like this and work its way down before going up, right? And then this whole thing would be one giant spring, just like this right here, just like that right there. So, not saying that this is what's going to happen, but it's the only thing that makes sense at the moment from comparing it from the previous fractal. So, either number one, we come here, we go sideways, we break out in this spring phase right here. Or number two, the spring needs to come all the way down here to complete itself, which just delayed it another 5-6 months before ultimately exploding up. But then, right, then the fractal would be off by a massive 6 months. So then it wouldn't totally make sense. But, going back over here, the peak came here, right? But the peak from the retracement came here. So, because originally I have the fractal like this, right? Matching it up from peak to peak. And if you do that, interestingly, the entire thing matches up pretty well. So if you look, the fractal comes right here, right about where the fractal breaks out is where Judge Torres made her decision and we broke out. The difference is we didn't pull back in a pullback mode. We pulled back in a long, dreadful way, which resembles a spring, right? So I see, like I said, I see two options. Number one, we pull all the way down to support, or number two, we break out following this fractal. So let me just play with it so you can see all the areas that it matches up. So what I'm thinking is this peak here from the purple fractal is probably the peak from Judge Torres' decision, that pump we had. And this right here is the spring, just like this is the spring. And then notice on the purple fractal we went sideways for a bit. Well, look what's happening now. We're going sideways for a bit. So unless, this is at a crossroads. Either the price is going to, here we had the spring phase down here, just like right here, and then we go sideways, just like the fractal, and then we pump to the upside. Or we're going to come sideways and we're just going to come down to complete the spring phase, breaking this resistance down here, right? Breaking the resistance right here, coming down before ultimately coming up. So those are the two options I see. Number one, we come up. Number two, we come down. So at the end of the day, we're going to go up or we're going to go down. I'm not saying which way we're going to go. And if it goes up, that doesn't mean I'm right. If it goes down, that doesn't mean I'm right. I'm not saying which way. I'm just giving you an idea of how it relates to the spring phase from last time, comparing it to the fractal, comparing it to an actual Wyckoff accumulation schematic with a spring, right? So a creek, Bitcoin Cash had a creek. This looks more like a spring. And that leads me to my next point. This right here doesn't always have to break to the downside. For example, Bitcoin Cash, hold on one second, let me get rid of this. Bitcoin Cash had its Wyckoff like this, and then it had a creek before going up. So let me draw that one more time. It was like this, and then it had a creek. It didn't come down and break the low like the spring. Instead, it had a creek, and then it went up. So maybe that's what this is. Maybe this is a creek instead of a spring. So here's Bitcoin Cash. We had the Wyckoff right here, and here's the spring or the creek. So we did have a wick below, but it didn't take out that low, right? So that's what we're sort of looking for with XRP. We wanted to see this like an M shape, right? And then a long, dreadful area, sometimes breaking below and then coming up. Just like how Bitcoin Cash, look at that massive breakout we had. Bitcoin Cash had a massive breakout after its spring phase, or creek, whatever you want to call it. So going back to XRP, either number one, we're going to get, halfway between and then go up, or we're going to come down and finish it. Either way, I think a big pump is coming. So let's see what happens.